Hello, good evening. My name is India. Welcome back to a video. I think this is, I don't know what this is. Let me figure out better lighting because I think that's something that's in my wheelhouse. I don't know if this is better, but it's something. So I think what I'm gonna do is try to pick up my reading books inspired by Jen Campbell vlog. My first installment of this should be up already. Excuse me. And that was mostly me reading The Crimson Petal and the White, which I adored. I could start one or both of these. A Guide to Being Born is a collection of short stories, and Poor Things is a retelling of Frankenstein, or like a Frankenstein retelling. So we have these. There's also the fact that Pride Month is approaching, so throughout June I want to read the collected poems of Audre Lorde. This is one of the books that I want to finish this year. And so I'd like to read like a couple poems a day to just get through this. I've read some of her poetry and I love it. Her essay, Poetry is Not a Luxury, is phenomenal. So I know I'm going to enjoy this. So I think my plan is I'm going to start with A Guide to Being Born and read a story or two. Start Poor Things, and then end my day with some Audre Lorde. That sounds wonderful. This works. Hi, happy June. So I'm reading A Guide to Being Born, right? Yeah. I'm reading A Guide to Being Born, which is a collection of short stories. And I just finished reading one that I specifically remember Jen Campbell talking about. What is this? Okay. Sorry. And it's about this man whose wife is pregnant, and he's like, I wouldn't say jealous, but he's like, there's nothing growing inside of me. And then like drawers start, like he develops drawers, like bone and skin drawers in his chest. Which was interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. There's part of me that really didn't like it, and I think there's this like quality to the stories that feels really familiar. It's like the what is the word? The like magical realism of Anthony Doerr's short stories. And maybe it's just like that kind of like I don't know. Let me think on this. I don't know what it is that I'm not enjoying, but I find that the stories, which are somewhat fabulous? Is that the word I'm looking for? Like where they're mostly centered in real life and like the stuff that's happening would happen. But there's like fantastical motifs and like, I don't know. Yeah, fabulous. I don't know. Yes? And I think it's just like not working for me, that it feels like something that I've read before, both like in tone and concept. Like I feel like I've read an Anthony Doerr short story about a pregnant woman that felt very similar to Oh, no, it wasn't. It was about a couple that was trying to get pregnant and like going through IVF, and like felt very similar. And so maybe it's just that I'm being reminded to his collection, The Memory Wall. So it's like enjoyable to read, but I'm not finding the stories particularly memorable. I did like the one about a girl who is conceptualizing her pregnancy and conceptualizing the fetus as these different animals. And so like it starts out, she is thinking about her womb as a bird's nest, and like the inside of her there is like a mother bird and like feeding its like babies that have hatched. And then there's like giraffes and like giraffe heads that like come out of her. Saying it out loud, it's weird, but I thought that one was a very strong story and I liked a lot. Yes, I'm going to continue reading that. Pardon the wheel. Maybe I'll just go right here. I'm at my uncle's farm and there is a car graveyard where they just have all these old cars and trucks and tractors and stuff. And I thought it would be fun to sit in one of them and just like read for a bit. But I have like a spider friend over here whose web I'm trying not to disturb. I would be surprised if I make it through hanging out here and like don't have a spider come say hello to me. But yeah, there are sheep and goats over there. The chickens are that way. So I'm currently reading Poor Things by Alistair Gray, which is just a fun time. We have this man who is going to medical school and is like kind of ostracized because he's like from a working class family, and like his parents were like farmers out in the countryside, and he used like the money from his parents' death to just go be a doctor. And he's befriending, or he was befriending this other guy who kind of is ostracized by everyone because his dad is like a super famous doctor, but he's just like kind of weird. And so it's about them and like figuring out how to like transplant body parts of animals at this point. It's almost like it might be a good idea for me to wrap up this video. I don't know. So we're just gonna talk about this. I don't know when I stopped reading Poor Things by Alistair Gray, but at some point, or like how far I got into it. But at some point I just realized I wasn't having fun. I wasn't looking forward to reading this. I think the writing style wasn't connecting with me. And then I was just like kind of, not very engaged by the structure or the story or the writing. So I put it down. I DNF'd this book. So let's talk about these 3 books that I read or tried to read. So, there's a lamp. Again, this isn't necessarily about me trying to figure out whether or not I have the same reading tastes as like the booktubers whose videos I consume, but more like a way to get through my TBR and to like finally read books that I have seen talked about by people who I watch on the internet. So again, this is more of a recap for me because it's been a while since I've talked about this. The 3 books that I chose to read that I heard about on Jen Campbell's channel were The Crimson Petal and the White by Michelle Faber, A Guide to Being Born by Ramona Osbel, and Poor Things by Alistair Gray. Already talked about this. I'm sad that I didn't get on with it, but I also
just was like, I would rather be reading other books, so I can do that. A Guide to Being Born was kind of okay. I think my main takeaway from this book is that it felt like all of the stories existed in this like similar vague tone, or like vague like genre of like kind of fabulous, kind of fantastical fiction, but the last story in here is potentially one of my favorite stories, like short stories that I've ever read. So overall, it was kind of meh, but a gem, an amazing story at the end about limbs growing from our bodies, prompted by love. And then The Crimson Petal and the White. There's a whole, like, part 1 of this vlog is me reading this and falling in love with it and absolutely adoring it. And this is one of the best books that I've read this year. And I don't want to be without this. So there we go. Thank you for bearing with me on this journey of avoiding the things that I committed to. Is that quite what happened? Ooh, that's pretty with the gradient. I'm getting distracted. Thank you for joining me on this journey of resisting the completion of a task. We will call what happened that. So yes, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in another video.